In some of my past reviews, I've shown you examples of good PlayStation 2 action games like Shinobi, Nightshade, and the two Maximo games. Now I'm going to show you what happens when something goes horribly wrong, like almost Psygirl's bad wrong. We're going to go more into depth with this one than I normally do, because quite frankly, I am a big Tekken fan, and well, I've got a grievance with this one. So get yourselves a good snack and drink, folks, because we're going to be here a while. Enjoy! Fighting game spin-offs that take up other genres besides fighting usually tend to have a mixed result. On the one hand, you have Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. On the other hand, we had to slog through MK Mythology Sub-Zero and MK Special Forces Jax to get Shaolin Monks. For every Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, there's a Street Fighter 2010 The Final Fight. Some tend to completely go off into non-action stuff like Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball, while others, like the Virtua Fighter spin-off Virtua Quest, tend to stick to the action-adventure formula. Which leads us into today's travesty. Tekken's Nina Williams in Death by Degrees, also known in Japan as Death by Degrees Tekken Nina Williams. Judging from the cover alone, it looks like some generic PS2 action game that would fit right in with all the other generic stuff in the bargain bin. Until you read the small text above the title that indicates it's a Tekken spin-off. Despite me being a massive Tekken fan since I got my PS2, I never played this game when it was new because I was too young and they decided to make this one mature. You'll see why later on. However, even if I played this as a kid, I probably would have ended up hating it. Let's just say an acquaintance of someone I used to know online and I had a bit of a heated argument as to why this game wouldn't get re-released digitally ever. And after having actually played it, what do you know? My suspicions were sadly proven right. I didn't want them to be proven right, but they were. This game was an absolute nightmare to get through. But before I embark on this spoony/SCXCR style beatdown, let me give some context. In the case of the Mortal Kombat spin-offs, each of them focused on a popular character in the franchise. Mythologies focused on Sub-Zero, Special Forces on Jax, and Shaolin Monks on Liu Kang and Kung Lao. So it's no surprise Namco wanted something similar for one of their most popular Tekken characters, Nina Williams. Nina is, has, was, and always will be one of the most popular Tekken characters. She's been in every game since the first, has appeared in the anime Tekken film, the live-action Tekken film, and the CGI film Blood Vengeance, appeared in several spin-offs like Tekken Revolution, appeared in the recent anime Tekken Bloodline, and even appeared in the crossover of Street Fighter Cross Tekken. It's not hard to see why she's remained popular. She's a badass assassin who's hot, and there's probably more to it than that, but otherwise we'd be here all day if I were to go on, so back on point. Namco wanted an action spin-off, and Nina was the most popular character to star in her own game. The game was announced back in September of 2003 under the title of Nina. One word, you know, like Cher, Madonna, or Leon. In that month's issue of Famitsu. At the time, the game was about 30% complete and was set for a 2004 release. Judging by how much of it was complete at the time, it's possible the game was in development since as far back as the PS2 launch itself, 2001/2002 at the absolute latest. The Japanese site for the game opened up that same month, and the game itself was also shown at that year's Tokyo Game Show. By the spring of 2004, the game's full title of Death by Degrees was revealed in addition to the US and Europe releases. Further gameplay footage was shown at that year's E3 and Tokyo Game Show. At some point though, between E3 of 2004 and the Tokyo Game Show 2004, the game ended up getting delayed for whatever reason from its planned 2004 date to an early 2005 date. Oh well, a small delay shouldn't hurt when the development was going along fine. This small setback didn't cause any major issues. Death by Degrees came out on January 27th, 2005 for Japan, February 8th, 2005 for North America, and April 14th, 2005 for Australia, and one day later for Europe. A game for Nina fans, which they swear that was it, even though money probably played a part, but not the main part, or so they say, but I digress, at Namco's 50th anniversary. But when it came out, the game had a mixed reception and failed to make an impact outside of its demographic, and even with then, I don't think it did a good job at doing so. When the best thing about your game is the Tekken 5 demo discs that came with it, something has gone wrong. I've gone on about the history enough, so let's tear this game a new one like no tomorrow. Prepare yourselves, people. This is gonna be rough. We start off with narration by veteran voice actor Steve Blum about a plane disappearing on a routine training flight over a site where such disappearances are in the triple digits. We then see a naval ship on the surface over the Bermuda Triangle seemingly blown up while the computer surveilling it loses contact. We then cut to a man running away from some kind of beast, but not before being cornered by another man accompanied by a small squad of soldiers. The scientist getting caught is named Lucas Hayes, confusingly either voiced by Keith Anthony via IMDb or Bo Billingsley via, well, other sources. You figure out, I don't know. The man with the squad is named Enrique Ortega, voiced by Steve Blum. Right as Enrique knocks out Lucas, we cut to an underground fighting arena and we see our main heroine in a fighting arena. Nina Williams, voiced by Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, is here because the CIA and MI6 want her there. They're on an operation to infiltrate the criminal organization known as Kometa. Kometa is suspected to have this fighting tournament Nina is in held on the Amphitrite cruise ship owned by Kometa. The team has two sneakers under the pseudonyms of John Doe and Alan Smithy, the latter of whom voiced by Crispin Freeman. Nina is the sweeper, the main one. Should John and Alan fail, Nina must finish the mission. The goal is to find out what the heck happened and what Kometa is up to. Nina wins, some woman notices her, and we cut to the title card. Right afterward, we get some fan service with Nina taking a swim in the pool on the ship. As she tries to relax, some guards figure out who she is and try to take her out. This leads into the game's tutorial, which finally leads us to the reason this game is called what it is, and also its major downfall: the controls. Rather than use buttons for melee attacks, this game uses the right analog stick for attacking. Whichever direction you push the stick, Nina will attack in that specific direction. Unfortunately, other actions haven't been handled well with the analog stuff in mind. Guarding is handled by quickly tapping the right analog stick toward the enemies, and evading is handled via the left analog stick by tapping twice in the same direction. It doesn't sound too bad in theory, but playing the game on the actual console felt very clunky as hell, almost a tank-like ordeal to it, as opposed to the smoother ordeal of Rise to Honor. In fact, that game came out 1 year before this game did, and it uses the right analog stick for combat, but it's way less clunky and frustrating. It also gets tiring as hell on your hands, tapping the analog stick twice in a row several times to evade, especially against enemies with guns. The game also tends to throw too many enemies at you at a given time, sometimes spawning in another wave after you take one wave down, and since guarding doesn't work, well, cause the timing window is too tight, combined with the clunkiness, it makes the game feel more difficult than it needs to be. This is only the beginning of the nightmare, people. After beating the guards, when Nina's about to get shot, the guard that was planning the hit is shot. He's shot by one of the men who saw Nina at the tournament on the ship, Bryce Adams, voiced by Lex Lang. If his imitation of Sanji's 4Kids One Piece Brooklyn accent isn't already irritating you enough, you will be eventually further pissed off by him by the time you fight him. He's the bodyguard / lover of the woman joining him and Enrique. Her name is Lana Lane, voiced by Michelle Ruff, and she also saw Nina at the tournament. Bryce is also in charge of Lana's security force. She's the owner of the ship. She's also a Kometa executive like Enrique. She's eventually thrown into a room by their orders and left with no one guarding her. You'll eventually find a window open to get out, but not before you find a save point. When one is nearby, a bar with 3 antennas appears on the screen. When it maxes out, the save point reveals itself. Why they didn't just show them, I have no idea. Alan radios Nina and tells her she's on since he lost contact with John. Nina then sneaks out and heads back to the pool area. In between all this, you learn of holding R2 to get a third-person perspective, but it's not very useful. It locks you out of combat since you need the right analog stick to control the camera. In this instance, it doesn't fully show Nina, and she's always running no matter what. She's given her next goal to find John's GPS device to help locate the targets. You are then given a map of the ship, but it doesn't actually point out your next objective in true old-school Resident Evil fashion. So have fun consulting a video walkthrough / GameFAQs guide to find out where to go. In general, where the hell do I go best describes this game's nature. It's also where you find out how clunky the menus are. It takes a second to load, longer normally. There are delays when entering in and out of the menu system, and in general, they just feel very un-user-friendly and make the game drag out longer. The game also introduced you to throws, and the only form of a stealth attack, submission attacks, where you break the enemy's necks after sneak grabbing them. These at least work well, but you won't be using much stealth in the game. After heading south of the pool area, Nina is radioed by Alan for more help. So Nina heads around the other side, up the stairs, takes out the sniper, and we now have another portion of the game, a crummy sniper minigame. It basically mixes Time Crisis and Silent Scope. You'll protect Alan from getting hit by sniping enemies, all while ducking to hide from snipers attacking you and to reload. Sniper controls feel a bit loose, so headshots are a bit more difficult, and enemies here take a few shots to kill without headshots. There will be quite a few of these throughout the game. After that first section, take the crank handle, go back to the ladder you first passed by when you entered the area, attach the crank handle, open the hatch, go in, and shimmy across for a memo that learns about codes to open lockers for gear. Get the other memo for sensors, then go down to the next section. You enter a more atrium-like area and further try to get down to the meat locker to find John. We also have to deal with crappy infrared lasers. You will eventually be able to turn them off later on, so you don't have to deal with them every time. But be careful for now, as one wrong move will one-hit kill you. After further going down and jumping off an obstacle, that is basically this game's way of saying,
I forbid you to take another step down these stairs!
Without actually using stairs.
Okay.
After finding a memo, looking at a dead soldier, entering the room east of the soldier, finding the conveyor belt and activating it, you finally get John's print scanner. This is another one of the major things in this game. Go back to this soldier and now you can scan his fingerprints. When you scan fingerprints, you get a personal code and sometimes level access to let you access things you couldn't before, like doors and other security devices. Although not all parts may be there within one scan. Sometimes you'll have to scan different objects to get a full print. Now enter the room you couldn't before, get the key, scan the mug, get the roster, power the lift, leave the room, go back near the conveyor belt and open the door you couldn't with the key you acquired, get the tactical belt, which increases the amount of weapons you can carry, which is otherwise limited, both via melee and firearms, well at least for holsters there. Go through the vent and follow the blood trail into the meat locker. John is dead and Bryce has the GPS device. Only one thing to do, fight him for it. This is the first of several boss battles, and they are mixed. Starting with this punk. Rather than fight you hand to hand, he'll use firearms like the pussy he is. So this basically boils down to hide behind the meat, advance quickly enough while he reloads, hit him as much as possible, especially with critical strikes. Oops, forgot to mention those earlier. The bar under Nina's health fills up as you attack. When it's full, you can hit R2 and the game will give you an X-ray vision. Move the left analog stick over the red part, glowing for a weak point on the body. Then flick the right analog stick up to attack. If you landed on a normal enemy, they will probably die if you strike them in the right part. And you get this Mortal Kombat 9 looking ordeal. Not quite as gruesome, but still impactful, seeing bones break and stuff like that. Now you see why I say it was mature, or now you see why it's mature, you get the idea. Yeah, ribs shatter, bones break, and it does look good. It's one of the few positives I can give this game. It does look really good from a graphical standpoint. Anyway, bosses will get stunted, and you can wail on them. As you beat more enemies, you level up to increase your health and critical strike bar, the latter for more hits on a critical strike. You also earn points to spend on more advanced combos so you can have more damaging moves. Back to the boss. Bryce will run to the other side after you hit him once or so. You wail on him once. Lather, rinse, repeat until he's done. You don't even fully take his health down. Just halfway, and he runs off. Scan the knife for Prince. Scan for John's Prince. Then get back up to the atrium. Bryce still has the device, so we disable the lasers now and chase him back to the pool area. Save, get the device, and get treated to his actual boss battle. He traps you in the center area with all sorts of spike, teases you with this, and yet still has the audacity to pull guns.
Sorry to disappoint you, but I prefer guns.
He doesn't even reload, he just drops them and leaves them be. So now you fight him in a more cramped area with spikes that can hurt you as well, him still firing the guns, combined with the overall clunkiness, and you've got a more miserable fight that made me want to turn Codebreaker on for the rest of the game. You can get weapons from behind the bar after you get certain prints and open up these honeycomb locks. These are the sort of saves where you just arrange the numbers in order from left to right, up to down, to get weapons, melee weapons and other stuff, and guns to cheese the fight. But at this point, if you have to cheese it, chances are it sucks anyways. Your weapons don't even last, unless you beat the game once to get infinite weapons to speedrun this crap. Anyway, get the weapons, cheese the fight, land critical strikes, and I do mean land, because if you miss, tough shit. You don't get your meter back before you triggered it. At least, fully. And drain his health. He eventually gets knocked back into the spikes and dies.
It's so bright.
You get the device, scan his prints, and you can access another level of the ship. This is where the meeting room of Kometa executives is. Nina now needs a picture of their meeting. En route to get the equipment from Alan at the heliport, security finds Bryce dead and issues a lockdown on the elevator Nina is in. Nina escapes, reunites with Alan, takes down some more guards, and properly get introduced to each other in the flesh.
The name's Alan Smithy.
Not very creative, are we, Mr. Alias Man? I'm Nina Williams.
Everyone uses an alias in this line of work. You're a strange one.
No one who finds out my name lives.
Alan explains to Nina the events we saw at the start of the game. He then gives her a camera to capture the footage of the Kometa executives meeting, then transmit it to HQ. Also, try to keep a low profile, even though the head of security has been killed. Nina takes the ladder Alan opened and heads around the ship to sneak into Lana Lay's room via a water tank. Oh yeah, this game has swimming sections, and they're also clunky as well. Whenever Blue 2 controls better when it comes to underwater sequences, something has gone horribly wrong. Nina ends up in the water tank room, opens the stairs, and enters the area, only able to get part of Lana's prints. Yeah, I mentioned before, but you'll need scan multiple parts of someone's print to get it full. She eventually uses the Stingray, a drone of sorts, that Alan gave her to get a code from a statue in Lana's room. She uses a separate code to sneak in, enters her closet, scans a bracelet for more print parts, and changes out of her tattered dress into an infiltration suit. She heads back out to the lobby where the ship was to get the last part of Lana's prints from a picture of Lucas. She sneaks into the meeting room, scans print parts on an emblem, goes further south into the area with the rings seen at the start, and finds another door. We go into the lowest point of the atrium, beat up more guards, and find a piano. This will come in handy later on. After hitting a switch on the statue that twists the piano, we find letters on it. We go back up to the main point of the atrium we first entered, and access the door we couldn't access before. Dealing with more infrared lasers and disabling them, we enter a receptionist area to start on another set of prints. Go up the stairs and scan more prints to hopefully complete a set. We then go to the opposite side from where we entered the receptionist area, go into the bathroom, and use the Stingray once again. We find Lana and Enrique are meeting, and things aren't exactly peachy, to say the least.
Well, so what's it gonna be?
I'd really like to go with you. But I can't. Please. Grant me a quick death.
The gas grenade is a bad omen, and this game is desperately trying to be Metal Gear Solid badly in parts. It feels weak, you'll especially see later on. After getting the data, Nina goes back to the room with the computer, the one west of the first soldier's prints we scanned, and transmits the data. She releases the lifeboat lock as the ship is now on full alert of her infiltration. Nina gets onto the lifeboat, lowers it, and gets to the heliport, only to be shot by some weird dart by Lana. This triggers a hallucination, and we get what's supposed to be a boss battle with her. What's in the dart that causes the hallucination? Never explained. So we just have to take it that she's crazy, Lana. We aren't even given enough build to see Lana go full crazy at this point. We know why, though. Or at least, we don't when you take out all the backtracking and what have you. After getting hit, Nina starts to have a flashback to her childhood, with her and her sister Anna Williams, with dead soldiers as zombies. Nina is then somehow transported back to this moment, and we fight Lana. We have to keep the zombies from attacking young Nina while finding Lana, who really knows how to hide, by the way, and then wail on her. Lather, rinse, repeat. This is not clever. This is annoying with Lana's constant taunts and hiding off screen. The zombies are just there to keep you distracted, and you'll never have a normal one-on-one fight with her. I'd assume Lana is mentally unhinged, but the game never really goes into this, like I said. So after that crazy shit, Nina regains control, escapes onto the helicopter with Enrique, and passes out. End of part 1. So you can already see this thing is going too crazy. That ship was too big, confusing in some parts, some areas look too similar to each other, your map doesn't help point out where the next objective is, and because the game feels slow, it feels much longer than it should be. The load times when entering menus and entering new areas don't help either. I've seen better load times on early PS2 titles compared to this. Believe me, folks, things do not get better in the next part. After we see a flashback of Nina and Anna getting separated, we see Nina being tortured in the prison area of a Kometa research island. While she feigns unconsciousness, she overhears them mentioning Lucas without saying his name. She breaks free of her cuffs, beats up the guards, and retrieves her gear.
Morning.
Afterward, climb up some rubble and shimmy across a pipe to the other side to enter the only open cell for another tactical belt. Drop back down and leave the area, but not before grabbing a prisoner's journal. Oh, and don't forget to scan for fingerprints in one of the cells next to Nina on the dead soldier. They're needed for a lock being guarded by guards. Nina reestablishes contact with Alan, who tells her HQ thinks Kometa has collapsed because of the ship incident.
So, all that remains is...
Salacia.
Nina is ordered to find Lucas as he betrayed Kometa and sent out the video of the exploding ship we saw at the start of the game, hence Lucas also getting imprisoned. Head downstairs, beat up guards, go into a nearby bathroom, break the flimsy door down on the guard hiding, and get the bronze key for solitary block. Head back out, take out more guards, head back to where you started, and now the Tekken Force is in the mix. And the first guys you fight have Wolverine-style claws. Joy. Beat them up, use the key on the door you couldn't open before, and continue underground. You'll get a map of the area and enter more needless combat. After that, you'll get the interrogation report for Lucas. Apparently he planned on stealing Salacia and escaping, but a gas leak forced him to abandon the weapon. Use a scanner on a tortured soldier, and move into the cells, and finally, Nina is face to face with Lucas.
Hey, did you see my video on the net? Who are you with? Whatever, never mind, that's not important. If you get me out of here, I'll give you top priority on my future contracts.
Lucas Hayes, I presume?
If you act now, I'll give you 30% off.
Tell me, what is Salacia?
Can't breathe. Chill out. Be happy to talk. But first, you've got to bust my ass out of here. You'll need Enrique's prints to open this door.
Getting another prisoner's journal opens up more information on top of more honeycomb puzzle solutions. After breaking the wall where the journal was, Nina crawls in, and we have another crawling sequence. This one is way easier to get lost in, and you don't even have a way to keep track of where you are. You'll find more coins, but otherwise, don't spend a crap ton of time here. Nina escapes and ends up in the sewers, fighting more guards, and finding a prisoner's memo next to their corpse is next. Nina finds another vent, crawls through, and ends up on a dam-like side of the sewer. Adjusting water levels to 15 feet will allow Nina to continue after more guards get beat. Enter the door you couldn't before, then find the save point. And save because more awful platforming shows up. The sewer is set to self-destruct and Nina has 2 minutes to escape. This part is awful because if you make even one mistake, the rest of the run is screwed. If the game wasn't so clunky, this wouldn't be an issue. But when you are expected to dodge loose and electrified cables and escape within 2 minutes while dealing with input delay, you have a section that makes the other platforming look more doable by comparison. So after that frustrating ordeal, Nina escapes, goes around the other side, and deals with the first laser puzzle we've had in quite some time. Fortunately, she can take the gun as long as you have space, so it won't be an issue when backtracking. And it might help with a further boss later on. You'll see soon enough. We enter the door further away that would be easily accessible if not for the locked door and clean house. As we move through, we find an elevator we can't access yet. We leave the commons area and enter the door next to the Tekken 4 poster, fight the force, find out how to operate the shutter manually, activate CDE on it, leave the room, and enter the one north of it. Fight more, get the holster, backtrack, go south of the elevator, and enter the contraband room. She finds a task report about gas purging and leaves, and finds a warning about metallic objects being prohibited. She's forced to deposit her items into the box, which gives the game an excuse to strip her down to her bikini we saw at the start of the game. We enter the first door on the right, and we're in a shower room none unlike the one in the Rock. All we need are guards with guns on the upper and lower levels, and yeah. Leave the area and turn on the elevator so you can move into the back part of the building with your items. Backtrack to the shower to fight more guards. Or if you have infinite guns, recreate the shootout scene from the Rock.
Your unit is covered from an elevated position, Commander. I'm not gonna ask again. Don't do anything stupid.
Head back to the contraband room, cause enough fan service. Head back outside and tackle more guards. Get fingerprints from a Kometa emblem. Use the elevator to get back into the showers and scan the locket you saw in that area. Then north, west, and upstairs to find a door you can open. Get the white tag key, scan for prints on the splicer, then save because another boss is coming up. Nina leaves through the other door and finds the next boss, Enrique, who indeed brought in the Tekken Force and is in contact with Heihachi Mishima, voiced by the late Daisuke Gori, talking the way Tekken characters do, in their own languages.
Is he for real? What the hell are you doing here?
Nina then fights Enrique. He uses a sword to find, and you better have one yourself. The FAQ never provided a strategy, at least the one I looked at. So all I can recommend is keep your distance when he attacks, then strike him when his guard is down, because he blocks most of the time and land those critical strikes. But barely any of the bosses Nina fights are hand-to-hand fights. And with the way the game feels, you'll always feel disadvantaged even with loads of health items and weapons. Nina beats Enrique and offers a plea bargain, but before Nina can answer... Yep, You didn't think you wouldn't have a Nina game without her sister now, would you? At least as a grown-up. After stunning Nina, Anna, voiced by Deborah Rogers, flees with Enrique, and we get another flashback that only shows a young Anna. We scan a piece of Enrique's sword and we only get part of a print. We go back to where Lucas was, disabling metal detectors on the way, and scan the scabbard to get the other piece of the print for Enrique's full print. We backtrack to where we found Lucas, beating up a crap ton more guards on the way, and finally, we free Lucas. Nina then asks him about what's going on, and Lucas reveals Kometa is after Salacia, and it's in his lab underground. Remember that elevator we couldn't access earlier? We need him for it, but we also have to restore his clearance. But then, more guards show up. Knock him out, backtrack through that tunnel again, only to have the entrance collapse on you, forcing you to move forward. One more run through later, and yep, it's flooded. Remember how it was easier to navigate before? Now it's not. You have to swim and occasionally find areas that will restore your breath. Basically, you swim into an open vent to get another confusing labyrinth to navigate, which finally takes you back to the now wrecked sewer area. Climb the ladder there, once found, climb, and get the hell out. Beat up more guards and end up on the roof. Lucas finally gets a radio. Enters the first building and we scan more print parts on a broken baton and get the work memo. Leave, we beat up guards, find more print parts on a toolbox by the copter, then down the stairs northeast of the chopper. Around the corner, north into the door, and break crate from across the elevator to get part of the prints. Exit, go back upstairs and around the corner and find another freaking shimmy puzzle. This game really likes to throw the most egregious kinds of platforming at you, basically. Avoid the lights or you're in for a miserable time. This is one of the worst platforming sections in the game. With how clunky it is, you can't make one mistake either. Otherwise, the light lands on you, guards shooting you, and you have to wait for the alarm to die down and start over. I can't tell you how many times I had to do this bit, because it's too unforgiving and shows why this game shouldn't have platforming at it. As if the sewer timed escape part already didn't demonstrate that well enough. Enter the door on the other side and head north of the lockers to find the fingerprint database terminal. Use it and Lucas's clearance will be restored. Nina fights way more guards on the way as she heads north of the door we just left. By the way, it turns out there's a sniper post here. Nina heads up the post and takes the sniper down so we can have yet another crappy sniper segment. Shooting out headlights and clearing out post. Yada yada yada. After that, we find the line after climbing down the ladder and shimmy across it to get the elevator, or to the elevator. Restore power, take lift, and you'll be back to where you started once you escape. Go back to the elevator and find Lucas. Activate it and get to the first floor. Unfortunately, Enrique, Anna, and the guards are waiting for them, along with something more sinister. Lucas and Nina head to the docks and find a gate locked. He mentions an air duct in the air, and we saw it earlier after being blocked by a forklift. Go through the guard post and take out the guards to get the key to start the forklift. Activate it to lower the container, then use the Stingray to first activate an elevator to open up the area with the switch. Move into the area, find the switch, and activate it to open the gate. The Stingray takes a little bit to get used to, but it's alright. Just a pain when guards are shooting at it. Go back into the gate and... ugh. The worst escort quest in game history. Lucas is even more helpless than Ashley from Resident Evil 4. Every time you get attacked, there's always that one guard that will attack him and make you more stressed. Maybe even waste a defibrillator on him. You can't even use your health items on him like you can Ashley in RE4. Besides, what did Enrique say earlier?
Lucas? He is just like me. I feel sorry for him. If he is still useful to us, let him live.
And assuming he's the only one who really knows how Salacia works, wouldn't they need him alive? Yet the damn guards are trying to kill him? What?
Stupid! You're so stupid!
We take the elevator down underground, and Alan sends another map and warns her of the danger that awaits. Take out guards, get more prints, and open the door. Ay, ay, ay. As moving further into the base finds more guards, another set of prints, and an electric fence. Entering the building, you find on the way has a way to turn off the fence so you can move forward. And whiz on the fence as much as you want, but that's not here or now. Anyway, further down the stairs, around the corner, next to a holster, head back up to the gate so you couldn't enter before. Save, enter, and move along. Lucas makes it to the end, and so does Anna. She kicks him through and he falls through, but lands in a safety net of tangled wires. And now we finally fight Anna the first time. The floor is fragile, and you can't span too long over certain segments of it or it will break. If you time it right, you can knock Anna off, but I never was able to. Use weapons because you won't be able to use them when you fight Anna for the last time. At least she fights you hand to hand, unlike all the other bosses. After the fight, the robot jumps from the top through the floor and breaks it, sending Anna under. Lucas breaks out of this tangled affair after Anna bumps him on the way down, and the evil robot that broke the floor chases Lucas. Leave the gate, take out guards, and get back to the area where the power switch was, the gate was, to find the monitors. Oh god, not this section. The gate is blocked, so you have to guide Lucas to get the crowbar and then escape while dodging the giant robot. Without it, he's useless. With it, slightly less useless. You have to use the map and monitors to guide him. Coincidentally, only 4 monitors are working. His start point seems to be random. If not, you can get it done faster, but most of the time, you won't. This section is entirely down to chance thanks to this, and you're supposed to be able to figure out how to guide him thanks to where he says he is. It doesn't always correspond with how you see it compared to him. This was the point in the game that drove me to drink because it was just too many times failing, all because of skewed perspective and chance. Horrible! Just plain horrible! Once you get lucky, Lucas breaks out and the robot gets trapped in there, never to be seen again. Thank God! With him finally back, it's back to escorting him.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Pick up the crowbar and go back to the hatch you couldn't open earlier, then open it up. Ignore the guards and quickly escape through it. Run along straight until more enemies show up, then kick their ass. Keep going until you see a door. You can't open it. Climb the ladder and into the hatch for a simple swim section. Don't forget the coin that's glaring you from when you first surface. Climb up and head back to the door, but not before fingerprint scanning a dead scientist. You may want to save first, though. Then unlock the door. Scavenge the lockers you can open while you're at it. What's funny is, one of the lockers is Lucas's, yet you can't even use him to open it. Didn't we restore his clearance earlier? What the hell? We finally head to the control panel, and we finally get an MGS-style explanation about Salacia. And believe me, when you hear this, you are gonna be... I don't even know. Kometa planned to use satellites to heat and activate methane hydrate on the ocean floor to sink ships. Lucas's original plan was to get a new energy source to use instead of fossil fuels, but his research was twisted and hijacked from him to Kometa's twisted purposes. So Kometa wants to play a real-life version of Battleship without normal missiles, ocean ecosystems, and normal human life be damned. Seeing as how the whole world is at stake with all of this madness, Lucas destroys the control panel, and just as they're about to escape, more guards show up. You know the drill. There's still poisonous gas in this section. Nina dons a diving suit and backtracks out back to the stairs we didn't go down the first time. After another swim/gold coin collection part, follow the pipe, we find the other area and scan more fingerprints. We climb up the ladder and scan prints on a wrench. Enter the door and go straight to scan more prints. Keep going until you hit a door you can't enter and find detergent. Now go back and enter the double-sided door. Scan the prints on the glove to go north from the glove. Turn right and you should find calcium hydroxide. There's also a defibrillator nearby. get it. You'll also find a fire sprinkler. Need to find a way to activate it. Head back to where the wrench is and use the calcium hydroxide and detergent on the reservoir. We can now activate the sprinkler system and flush out the gas.
I've neutralized the gas.
Oh, great. Now he's in trouble. Again! We leave and go upstairs and through the door we couldn't go through earlier and find him going in a lab. We find a journal from Dr. Paskanovich who did some work with Lucas on this project. We also find a locked door and an escaped route map. Scavenge the lockers, then leave. More guards. At the fork in the bridge, go left and follow the path. Scan more prints. They unlock a door. Go the other way, but not before getting the holster. Scan several prints from dead soldiers. Enter the door, save, and take the elevator. Uh-oh. Looks like Enrique caught Lucas. He demands Salacia, but then... Yep, boss time. All you can do is beat up the robot until half its health is left. Weapons are a godsend, especially that laser gun there, that if you did the first laser puzzle properly and had enough space in your inventory, you would save basically, and it would save your ass here. And shockingly, it has a beating heart that you can critically strike. Or is that its brain? I can't tell. Once you're halfway through, Alan comes back and activates a machine. You have to lure it towards the blast area and stop it from moving. If you time it properly, you can take it down. Otherwise, it's gonna be a bad grind. The controls were inside the entire time. Lucas catches them, but Enrique takes them and Lucas. Save once more and head down. Enrique locks himself in Lucas and makes Lucas activate Salacia. Remember that robot we blasted earlier? Yeah, it's still alive somehow. But then it's not. Then it is. Lucas gets the controls and flees, and Alan goes after him, leaving Nina to fight Enrique and the robot. So now, not only do you fight Enrique, you fight the robot as well. Wonderful. Same deal as before. But also avoid the robot until 1/4 of Enrique's health is left. Then it's just you and him. One fight later, he's done.
Not a bad view.
Lucas seemingly escapes, but not before. Oh no! Not her! Yeah, remember her? She's still here. Get Lucas's journal and leave. Scan prints, get an assault rifle, climb the ladder, enter the door, scan prints, open the door, the other one, and we're back at the lab. We can open Vaskanovich's locker and get a Type J report. Head back the way you entered, take the elevator, and you'll find Alan, along with a dead Lucas. Apparently, Lana killed him.
We're too late. It's Lana Ley.
You'll get his watch and scan his prints. So now you can open the locker. Too bad there's no real reason to. You also find a knife there with the prints of Edgar Grant. Escape back to the prison area, scan prints, beat up more guards, and maybe open up lockers. Finally, Nina gets back to the heliport and meets up with Alan. They need to clear a path though, so yep, one last sniper sequence, and it's the worst of them all. Now we have to watch our ass and Alan's. He'll throw a fuss at you even when his AI is being a pain in the ass. Not to mention, this sequence is longer than the others, and boy do you feel it. This sequence lasts 7 minutes. That may not seem like a lot, but when you end up failing it, it will feel long. After that sequence, he gets the chopper, and Alan and Nina escape. Anna is none too happy, never mind her. Lana has Salacia and is ready to fully unleash it. We go back to the ship after escaping from the chopper that was shot down, with a new outfit to boot. This is it, the last section. Now we fight cyborg soldiers that also have functioning human parts that even sound like they're human when they're getting beat up, but somehow they kinda sort of aren't, I don't know. After beating them up, get the international code flag chart. Enter the door with the green light above it and go in the next door. Opposite of this, you'll find a defibrillator. We're back in the file area and we find a lost item report for a card key. We also have a control panel for moving the cabinets. In order, it's A, B, C, D. The card shows. Navigate to the other side and climb the ladder. Before you do, use the blank card on the computer for a blue card. Break the glass and enter the conference room. Beat up more guards, then activate the panel and do the flag puzzle. Select the Romeo and Juliet flags. The painting opens. Get the medallion and the emergency manual. You'll get more instructions to solve this. Go back to where you started and go to the other door, which you can now unlock. Keep moving into the locker area and open up lockers. Leave through the other door and move back into the atrium. A guard and several cyborgs await you. Head downstairs and find the piano. You'll need 2 keys. Go to the elevator and go to the 4th floor. Go to the bar and back into the kitchen. Save here because it's about to get more hectic. Go down to the meat locker and stand there. The medallion will become a chimera one. Make sure the thermostat is at negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit. By the way, 3 sword-wielding cyborgs will meet you here. Beat them up and leave. Go back the way you came and go back to the B1F via the elevator. Clear the guards and head all the way to the other side of the room to open the door. You'll be back outside on the ship. You'll then climb the ladder and head to Lana's quarters. After scavenging her bathroom, we head into the living area and find a note for her. We see a passcode for her bedroom was changed, and it's on the base of her desktop decoration. We head further into another area and a ship in a case, and a circular depression with a chimera imprint. We use the medallion on it and we finally have a chimera key. We use the door east of the case, enter, and pull a lever to bring down some stairs. Go up and get another defibrillator. Go back out the way you came and go around the other side. Enter the door, stay in the area, and we now have a unicorn medallion. Leave and go to the heliport for one hell of a welcome party. Use all your weapons here. There are so many cyborgs with ripper blades and they'll tear you apart. After that shit show, scan the Kometa emblem for prints. Go back to the door we initially entered. Clear the room and go to the 3rd floor. Go to the elevator and use it to get on the 4th floor. Clear more cyborgs, not much of a pain as the heliport, but a pain in the ass nonetheless. Use the unicorn medallion on the aquarium to drain it, and you'll get the unicorn key. Go back to the atrium and go to the 1st floor via the elevator. Activate the switch to turn the piano twice. Clear the room, then use the keys on the piano. Push the keys in the order O, R, P, H, E, U, S. A new door opens. Head below the lower deck and we'll hear from Alan, who will send us a map of the lower deck.
Do you read me?
You made it.
Yes, a nasty habit of mine. Where are you now?
I just entered the lower deck.
Roger. I'll head that way myself. I've obtained a map of the lower deck. I'll transmit it to you now. They've abandoned any pretense of hiding what they're doing, and are making full use of their merchandise.
What?
Those monsters are just a sampling of their product line. They're creating cyborgs.
And was I slated to become one too?
We didn't have proof at the time.
Whatever.
Clear the room afterward. Climb the ladder, then scan the emblem behind the barrel for more prints. Clear the room once again. Enter the subhatch and scan print parts on the diving mask. We then enter the hatch in the sub and we end up swimming. Climb out after getting the gold coin, up the stairs, scan prints on the watch, and get the full set. More cyborgs. Find the power for the elevator and turn it on. Then go back to the other door you didn't access before because we have to power up the print scanner on the doors. We have to shimmy across the pipes, but they're leaking and that's gonna stop us. I hate shimmy platforming sections. Go down the ladder and find the panel, activate it to stop the pressure from staying on all the time, then more cyborgs fought. Then climb back up and shimmy across the pipes. I hope you liked it in the prison stage, because we have more of this crap here. Not as frustrating since no spotlight will shine, so guards won't shoot you. But if the leak hits you, you still fall down and have to try again. 1 was enough, and 2 is just torture, so shimmy to the other side and crawl through the vent. After following the guide to escape, we end up in a control room. Take out the oblivious guard, scan prints on a pen, get the yellow tag key, save, use the blue card on the device, and you get a yellow card. You can open the fingerprint scanner and the bookcase moves to reveal an LCD panel for a honeycomb puzzle. Leave the room and the lock is deactivated. Head back to the elevator, power on, then open the lock. Enter the operating morgue and scavenge each corpse. Turns out they really are the implants of the cyborg sans the universal soldier look. Scan fingerprints where applicable. Scan the prints on the corpse in the padded room, get the defibrillator, then leave. Enter the double doors and scavenge more lockers / the area. Get the work instructions and head back to the elevator. Go up and enter the room. Take the first left and another gun puzzle. Damn it. Follow along on a video to get through and make sure you have room to take the gun so it won't bother you again. Enter the door, get the attendee roster, leave the room and go back out the way you came. Take the elevator down and go back to the locker area past the double doors. Use the roster to solve the lock. 00 is the last number, then enter. Follow along to find another fleet of robots and enter the doors left of the big door. You know what to do by now. After, get the IC key and a guard's journal. Operate the controls on the panel as well. This will set up an escape pod for later. Backtrack out the way you came and go back downstairs by the door by the water. Go back through the vents and back through the pipes. Shimmy back to the area and use the IC key on the giant robot. It comes alive. Use weapons and whatever else you can to survive and get the Chinese chess piece for the board you saw where you found the roster. Head back up, go to the door you couldn't open and use the yellow tag key to unlock it. Go back through the vent, back to the control room, back to the elevator, up, enter the door by the save point, clear room, enter blue doors, find print parts on an empty drink can to hopefully complete a set. Go down the red robot, use IC key on it, repeat same strategy as before, but watch out for the electric fence. And no, there is no turning it off. You should probably save in between. Get the soldier piece and leave. Go right, enter the single door, enter the other door, have more lockers to scavenge and head back out. Back to the elevator, 4th floor. Go to the blue doors here. Enter the next room, find the last robot, use the IC key on it, lather, rinse, repeat. Same strategy, sans the electric fence this time. Get the general piece, go back to the room where the roster was found, and use the pieces on the chessboard to open the room and enter. You thought Lana was creepy before? You ain't seen nothing yet. Not only does she have a creepy room, but she also has Bryce's body lying on her bed. What was she gonna do with it? Parade around with it Weekend at Bernie's style? The controls to Salacia, coincidentally, are next to him. Nina tries to grab them, and Lana plays Freddy Krueger. Again, Nina has another hallucination with no explanation whatsoever. We're almost done now. Why explain, game? We fight Lana the same way as before, but now we have to protect young Anna as well. Otherwise, it's not so different. After the fight, Alan comes in, shoots her, and we get a lame Shyamalan-like twist.
Edgar Grant. I suppose that's an alias too.
What can I say?
You're a sweeper as well.
Thanks to Lucas, everything went wrong.
How? How did it go wrong because of him? Explain, damn it! Was it because he was gonna leak it all? Don't answer that. Yeah, Alan is Edgar Grant. He was the one who killed John Doe and Lucas, is also a sweeper, and is going to blow up the ship. He attempts the ship explosion to cover up his part in all of this, and Nina was supposed to survive to witness his death. But Lana, somehow still alive after being shot to hell, shoots and maybe kills Edgar and takes off with Salacia. Get the best sword in this room, by the way. Manji's sword for the win. Take the elevator and you'll find the crazy woman who still wants to finish the mission. Once again, another unexplained hallucination. I hate Lana so much. One last fight. Well, you don't have to protect anyone, but now there are Bryce and Enrique clones on top of new zombies. Same deal as before, but finding Lana is a bigger nightmare this time, but it's the same damn thing every time. Defeat the crazy lady and save one last time because this is the point of no return. Use Lucas's watch, and Set the first time to 540 within 60 seconds. Uh-oh, Bimmy Rolf's nightmare of a time.
That's it, we just ran out of time because I have to be done at 5:40 right now.
And then 4 minute 35 within 30 seconds, and lastly 9 o'clock within 10 seconds. Do this and the satellites blow up, saving the world. But now we have another problem. Edgar is still barely alive and activates the self-destruct system on the ship. Use the yellow card on the panel in the room and get the red card, then get the hell out of there. Don't waste any time with any enemies. You only have a limited amount of time that is maybe affected depending on the difficulty. Get back to the elevator and go down. Go through the double door, or then double doors. Enter through the door near the sink. Then get to the big doors you couldn't get through earlier. You can now do that. Enter the launch pod and escape. You'll get out, and just when you think you've escaped... Yes, Anna is so hell-bent on Nina that she's going to fight her on a ship that's about to destruct. Well, it's final boss time. It all comes down to Anna, as it always does for Nina. Hopefully you saved up EO abilities that help you here, in addition to meal kits and water bottles for health and critical meter bar respectively, and maybe even some defibrillators, because holy hell, this is too damn hard. Anna blocks your attacks, and you have to time it right to stun her, then unleash hell. And no, you can't use melee weapons or firearms, all fist to fist here. If you're lucky, you can knock her off the side, but this is easier said than done. 1/3 of her life bar down, a cutscene. Repeat. 1/2 of her life down, another cutscene. Repeat one final time, the fight is over. Both of them fall over the edge and almost falter to death. But Nina saves them, and we get one final flashback. It turns out their father sacrificed themselves in an attempt to save Nina and Anna. After this, the two sisters comfort each other after such a tragic event, but not before we transition back to present day. The two hold on as they fall, and Anna grabs the helicopter rope in the nick of time as the ship explodes. Anna then declares,
Now
as she lets go of Nina's hand, leaving her to fall into the water. Anna escapes via helicopter while the rescue boats arrive to pick up Nina, and we finally end this game.
With any luck, we won't need your help. But if the time comes, we'll be counting on you, Sweeper.
That time will never come again because this game underperformed, was badly reviewed, and was forgotten about by all but the most die-hard Tekken fans of them all. Like me. And boy, what a disappointment this was. You know, I really wanted to like this game. The idea itself was never a bad idea, but the execution was horribly done. The story ventures off into more ridiculous levels that even later Tekken games would say is too much. On top of that, there are several plot holes, a lot of stuff, Edgar doing his specific killings, and the whole thing only ever gives so glimpses into Nina's past that really don't mean much or explain much to the average non-Tekken fan. I mean, if the gameplay was fine, I could forget this story, but no, even that's terrible. Death by Degrees is trying to mix an action game with classic Resident Evil-like gameplay, but it overdoes the backtracking so much. Considering Resident Evil 4 came out the same year as this and has aged much better, major yikes. Now, if I play the remake, that may change some things, but you know what, I can't say at this time. But for now, I'm standing by what I said. If things sounded too tedious in this review, I do apologize, but that's what playing this game is like in a nutshell. That's also on top of the badly designed gameplay sections that only slow you down, the camera that channels the worst parts of Code Veronica, the long load times, the unuser-friendly menus that make navigating the game that much more difficult, the overbearing difficulty, especially on bosses, and the game just isn't fun when all is said and done, and the damn controls especially. Even if this controlled like a regular PS2 action game, everything else would still drag it down. All the controls do is take an already frustrating game and make it more difficult to manage. I just feel like they're too ambitious for their own good. Like, if they were like Rise to Honor, it wouldn't be so bad. Rise to Honor's controls are simple, well implemented, easy to pick up on, and it's straightforward, but it's fun. Death by Degrees is too overambitious and has way too many complicated combos to pull off, which you need to beat mountains of enemies and the bosses. It's all confusing, clunky, and some parts are just too impossible to pull off unless you're a god at this game. All in all, Death by Degrees is impaled by its own sword of overambitiousness. There is some replayability, with a mode that lets you play a part of the prison stage with Anna, and the ability to fight Heihachi at the end, but that's assuming you want to play through it again, which you shouldn't. Unless you're a real die-hard Tekken fan, stay far away, and even then I'm hesitant in recommending this because there are so much better PS2 action games. Crimson Tears, The Bouncer, Bujingai, Shinobi, Nightshade, I could go on. They're more fun than this. I give Death by Degrees a 2 out of 5. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, click the big red button below to subscribe. Check out the other links in the description for more cool stuff, and check out the playlist on screen for more content. See you in the next video.